Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Happy Monday to you. It is the 26th of October, and I am sitting here talking to my man, the evil genius of Major League Baseball. Got to be all amped up with the World Series going on tomorrow night. Dr. Dan, what's up, kid?
World Series Eve, kid. World Series Eve.
And very excited.
After a monster weekend from both of us, really, really excited. Looking forward to it. If you listen to the leans that we put out, or I put out on Saturday, we gave you two plays. That was it. We were disciplined, right? We were disciplined, kid. We gave out the Jets plus the points, which, hey, I don't care how you cover it. It covered. And, and then we gave out that Atlanta St. Louis money line par, which ended up being really good, even though Atlanta's offense looked really bad.
Brutal.
But, look, a lot of people were saying that was a trap game for them. If you get out of your trap game with a win, that's all that matters.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, for me yesterday, I went down in flames with Rivers, man. I think that's the last time I'm going to mess with San Diego.
So, yeah, it's like
wow.
Philly Phil, man. Phil. He's got to be down 3 touchdowns.
College football was off the charts for me on Saturday, and then Sunday just could not get the job done. But we're going to play a little Monday morning quarterback and have a conversation, Dan, about all the games that happened yesterday and what went down in each particular matchup. But before we do that, I got to get involved and discuss the guests we got coming up, because we've got some very big guests coming up this week, Dan. Very excited about what's going on. And hey, good morning, Yato. How you doing, man? With the cop right there. I love that, man. So with the booty cop. So tomorrow is opening night of the NBA, Dan.
I love how they're starting on the opening night of the World Series. Brilliant by the NBA again. Commissioner Silver, I give you applause. You are a brilliant man. I mean, come on.
Unbelievable,
Idiot.
Man. So, hey, it is what it is, man. So, we're going to be looking forward to having Mr. Jared Swirling on the mic tomorrow. Going to be breaking down some NBA with us. He is a senior writer for the NBA Players Association. So, pretty excited to get him on to break down some and see how my boy is going to do this year. That's number one. Number two is that on Wednesday, we have the beautiful Megan Alexander coming on, CBS correspondent for Thursday Night Football. She's going to call in to break down the Patriots and Dolphins, kid. Pretty excited about having her on, Dan.
Oh, yeah, Megan Alexander, another shout-out to her, like I said, on Saturday. Brilliant, beautiful, the whole package. Can't wait to have her on the air.
And we're also going to have Mr. Gary Washburn on from the Boston Globe. He's going to be helping us out with some NBA talk, and we're going to have a conversation. And then, a couple days after today, on Thursday, we are bringing in the Iceman. Mr. Vanilla Ice is going to come in and rip it with us on Thursday. We're going to talk a little bit about his new movie coming out. We're going to talk about his TV show. We're going to talk about some Thursday Night Football. I'm guessing. I know he's a big sports fan, so we're going to have that conversation, and we're going to go from there, Dan. So pretty excited about it.
Real quick, one thing I just want to say is, obviously with the NBA season coming up, just R.I.P. to Flip Saunders, who only 60 years old, lost his battle with cancer. I know it was a real shock. They said that they thought he was going to be fine, but he unfortunately passed away.
60 years old.
Yeah, 60 years old. I believe it was yesterday morning. So R.I.P. best to his family and the NBA family. He was, brilliant
Absolutely.
Basketball guy, and everything you hear about Flip Saunders. He was a great guy in his personal life, so, big loss.
Yeah, and, our prayers and thoughts and prayers are out to all the families of all the victims that happened in Oklahoma State. Brutal what happened. I guess a woman under the influence of drugs crashed into a bunch of people at a parade. So, thoughts and prayers out to all the victims and their families and friends out there.
Yeah.
So, and
guys, no drugs or drinking behind the wheel. I don't care what you do in your own home, but come on, just stay out of the wheel.
Definitely not. So, Dan, something big happened in college football too, man. Seth Russell,
I know,
the quarterback of Baylor, goes out with a broken bone in his neck, man. You know what? I watched the play unfold. They were killing Iowa State, and the defense just started letting up a few scores, and all of a sudden, Iowa State made it a game. They were within 14 points. And Baylor had to put Russell back out there, man. So Russell goes out on a fourth down. Was it a third or fourth down? I want to say it was a fourth down play. And then he goes and breaks a bone in his neck. So I don't know. As far as Baylor futures, I mean, we talked about it the other day. I thought Baylor was a good shot, but without Russell now, we got to, we got to look
too much of an unknown. The
man.
quarterbacks on the roster. Remember, you have Chris Johnson, who's a swing between a wide receiver and a quarterback.
Yep.
And then you've got two freshmen.
Jarrett Stidham.
Yeah.
Stidham. I just want to say it's Stidham. That's the name, how to pronounce it. But, hey, we'll see what ends up going down. I mean, he did throw one pass to a wide-open Coleman for a touchdown.
Well, I mean, look, the Baylor offense is very, very, very primed and ready to go. I mean, you could have mediocre quarterback play, I want to say, and they still win some games. If this is a 2 or 3 game stretch that they're missing their starting quarterback for, maybe they can survive.
Yep.
I'm trying to look at their schedule, but, man, a huge, huge loss, obviously, for Baylor. I mean, they go on the road at K-State. Then it's really bad for them because after the K-State game, it's Oklahoma at home, at OK State, at TCU.
Oh my God!
So it's like a murderer's row.
Brutal schedule coming up. Well, I did talk to you about this before the show, and there is a team that I have a feeling can sneak in and call me crazy, guys. I know they lost to Texas, but the Oklahoma Sooners all of a sudden are coming out of nowhere. And they have been beating the snot out of everybody they've been playing over the last couple of weeks. And if they can manage to beat Baylor and TCU, Oklahoma's got a shot at getting into playoffs. And another team that's got a very good shot at getting into playoffs, and I got to give it to my man Weaver and his Clemson Tigers, man.
Oh, I mean, Clemson just looks ridiculous right now. Obviously, 58-0.
Yeah.
I mean, if I were those Miami boys, I would not want to be in class today. Not that I think they're in class anyway, but
yeah, right. Right.
I mean, it is Miami.
Over at the U, so the U
can't even call it the U right now. I heard who did I hear say that? I heard
smoked.
one of the old. One of the old, Miami receivers. I can't remember. He was a big-time NFL guy too, but he's like, we can't even call it to you. Like, this is despicable.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, Clemson runs the table and wins the ACC. They have to secure a spot. Obviously, we had Utah go down.
Yeah, man. Hey, you know what, guys? Listen, everybody that was on USC, congratulations. I never saw that coming, man. I really didn't. I mean, Utah played terrible, though, Dan. They
did play terrible, and I guess it helps when, your game plan is from a sober person. He's not like drunk, like run around like a madman. Yeah, and I really think that the stability, look, college kids, I think the number one thing you look for in a program, especially when you're looking at is stability, right?
Yep.
Is there stability from the top all the way down? And obviously Steve Sarkisian didn't have that, so those USC kids got a little bit of that. Look, I thought Utah would win that game easily. Utah is done now. It doesn't matter if they win or lose another game. I don't think they would get into a playoff.
I don't think so either, man. I don't think so either. So you're looking at it right now. I mean, and, I was pretty big on the Houston Cougars, but I don't think they would put Houston in the playoffs. So you're probably looking at something along the lines of the Ohio State University, if they can get past Michigan State and Michigan, which I got a pretty good feeling that they'll get by Michigan State. I'm not so sure about Michigan, though. Michigan State doesn't do it for me, Dan. I'm sorry.
I know that they don't do it for me either, but they just seem to find, they're like a cat with 9 lives. They just find a way. And it's like, look at this. I mean, they were down They were down a lot to Indiana by like a point, right? And then all of a sudden they were like, oh, crap. This is Indiana. And they came out and they scored like 30 unanswered points.
Yeah.
Michigan State has all the makings, I feel like, to do it. Ohio State, you still would have to like them in either game.
Yeah.
But, they could. I don't love Ohio State either.
I know. Well, the fact that they have JT Barrett now at the helm and they've kind of made their decision as far as that is concerned.
And I mean, help them out a little bit. So Ohio State's schedule for the next 4 games is not. It's Minnesota at home.
Yep.
at the Illini. And look, the Illini are tough at home. I think if that's like a big spread game, you look to make a play on the Illini there.
Yeah, okay.
But then it's Michigan State and at Michigan and at the Big House for Ohio State.
Yeah,
I want to see that game. I want to see Ohio State be undefeated for that game still.
Yeah.
I'll be rooting for that.
They're going to beat – I really feel like they're going to beat Sparty. It's just that Michigan game is the problem. So now,
it's at Ohio State against Sparty.
And then what they're going to need to do is if they win those games, then probably in their respective championship, they're probably going to have to play nasty Iowa. Yeah, we'll see what goes down with that one, man. So
now here's the question:
Yes.
if Iowa comes into that game,
yep,
and they're undefeated, which they have a chance to be, because if you look at Iowa's schedule, home against Maryland, at Indiana, Minnesota at home, Purdue at home, and at Nebraska.
That's what I'm saying, man.
So they go in undefeated. Let's say they don't call me. I'm just saying this for devil's advocate.
Sure.
Let's say they knock off Ohio State. They got to go in.
You got to put them in. They're
definitely in.
You got to put them in.
Right now, I think you're guaranteed a team, from that conference in.
Absolutely.
Definitely guaranteed at least one team from that conference between Michigan State, Ohio State, Iowa. Guaranteed a playoff.
Absolutely, dude. So as far as that's concerned, I think you're going to get definitely going to get somebody out of the Big 12 too, whether it's Baylor, whether it's TCU ski, or whether it's Oklahoma.
Now here's the more interesting question for you, kid. So let's say Iowa gets there undefeated and they lose to Ohio State by like a point, like last second field goal, something crazy.
Doesn't
Do they
matter.
drop all the way out of 4? I mean, if they're undefeated, I mean, I know they probably won't get in because you're not going to put 2 teams from the conference in. But
Right.
A one-loss Iowa team, with their one loss being to the number 1 team in the nation in Ohio State, that's a tough one there.
You're going to see this. You're going to see one team from each respective conference. It's the same situation in the SEC, Dan, with LSU and Bama. If Bama, because Bama has them this week, I believe, in Alabama. And Alabama did not look as impressive as we thought they would as far as, going against Tennessee this weekend, man. They almost lost that game.
Yeah, no, I agree. And, this game is at Alabama. The thing is I think LSU could lose this game and still have a chance to get into the playoff because, maybe not, because the only other game Alabama has after this one, if you want to count it, is because it's rivalries at Auburn.
Got it. Okay, but you're probably looking at it right now. As far as futures are concerned, you might want to take a little stab at Alabama. Obviously, the Ohio State University is like so favored, though, man. I mean, it's like 2-1 at this point.
I know.
It's been like that all year, though. And then you've got, somebody out of the Big 12, and I really think that, Yato's telling me that Mr. Stoops over there may choke as he usually does, and I think I agree with you on that because he loves to choke in big game situations. But, hey, it is what it is. And so you're looking at a Big 12, you're looking at a Big 10, you're looking at probably an SEC team because I don't think they would let it go without having an SEC team in there. And I would say the Pac would be out, and you're probably looking at Clemson as the ACC, man.
If they run the table, I would think that's how you would have to go with it, especially after that Utah loss. Well, the only other thing is, what if you have a one-loss Stanford team?
Oh, Stanford, that's right. And if they win the Pac,
everybody forgets about Stanford.
Wow. I think the committee's got their jobs cut out for them.
Yeah, because if you think about it, obviously, Stanford had the one loss when Northwestern's defensive prime, first week of the season. But, they beat USC on the road.
Yep.
They beat, Arizona. They smoked Arizona. I mean, they killed them.
Yes.
They beat UCLA. They Washington, whatever. But, if they run the table, so they still have tough games. At Washington State is not an easy game. Washington State's been playing very good.
Right.
At Colorado should be a win. Home against Oregon, I think, should be a win for that team. Last 2 games are Cal at home and Notre Dame at home.
Oregon wants Chip to come back.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. What Oregon needs is, someone to play defense. But, I mean, if Stanford obviously runs the table and beating Cal and Notre Dame in their last 2 games, no way that they don't get in.
Good point, man. Wow.
No way.
Wow, unbelievable. Unreal, man. So we'll see what ends up going down with that. I mean, if Ohio State loses to Michigan, I think everything is going to be flipped upside down.
Yes.
To be honest with you. So, but that's a really good team that I didn't even think about as Stanford, Dan. So something to have a conversation about.
Yeah,
we'll watch it
honestly,
go week to week
the reason why I don't think about them is because I remember looking at their schedule, and I think they'll lose one of the games at the end to Cal or Notre Dame. But they're both at home, so
yeah. Good call, man. Good call. All right, so we'll see what ends up going down with that, guys. And hey, guys are playing futures out in Las Vegas, man. I think you got a couple of decent teams to look at, man.
Yeah, guys, look, guys. The only other one that I would throw in there, and I know this is crazy, I would throw that nasty Iowa team in there.
They're like 20-1 right now, Dan.
They're 20-1, and their schedule, like we talked about, they should get into that game against Ohio State. And if they find a way to pick off Ohio State, they'll bounce them out.
Very good call. Very good call, man.
For 20-1, you go to Vegas and put it on.
Absolutely, man. All right. And as far as Monday morning quarterback, we got to go through all these games and just have a quick conversation about each one. I only watched a little bit. I was doing, my kid's tailgate and the ceremony and all that stuff. He's in 8th grade, final game and all that stuff. Obviously, they got the playoffs coming up this weekend, but it was a final regular season game. But I didn't really get a chance to watch the Bills and Jags, but I looked at the Jags were up big in that game, and then I looked at the final score, and a lot of points scored at the end, man. Did you watch any of that?
I refused because you know what? It was so early in the morning. I didn't want to wake my ass up and set up my smart TV and get the Yahoo screen going, get all that going. So I said, I'm gonna enjoy some brunch with my kids, and we had some family in from out of town, so we went and did that. And plus, it was Buffalo Jacksonville, so I didn't really care.
Buffalo and the Jags.
I did see some highlights from it. Basically, yeah, Jacksonville gets up real early. Buffalo storms all the way back. Buffalo should have had a shot. Look, they got called for a pass interference at the end of the game that was a joke. And I know that's all that those guys want to talk about. But come on, you gave up 34 to Jacksonville when you're supposed to have a great defense.
I know, they were down
this
27.
Is Rex Ryan.
27-13 at one point at the halftime, man. So E.J. Manuel, 298 yards, 2 touchdowns. T.J. Yeldon for the Jags, 115 yards on the ground, 1 touchdown. I don't know, man. Hey, the Jags catch a win. They're 2-5. Trying to catch the Colts in the division.
No, I mean, it's such a joke, but the Jags 1 game behind Indianapolis. Look, obviously you don't think, but I think in a couple of years, look, if they can get like a stud draft at O-line, they have. They have the quarterback, I think. I think he's a good quarterback. They have a running back, like Yeldon a lot. You pick up you get a wide receiver and a lineman. That team could be legit in the future. They're going to get killed this week because they have to go, I believe they go on the road at the Jets.
Okay.
But, the rest of their schedule is not that difficult. After that Jets game, it's road against a bad Ravens team.
Yep.
Home against the Titans. Home against the Chargers.
Interesting.
At Tennessee. I mean... they have every chance in the world to win this division.
Unbelievable. Unreal, man.
It's not going to happen, but they have a chance.
How about the Washington Redskins with Kirk Kissing Cousins at the helm? Come back down 24-0. I looked at my phone. It was 24-0. I was like, oh, wow. I was looking at a couple of different beatdowns, which we'll talk about the other beatdowns as we move forward. But
I know. I mean,
dude.
NFL Red Zone had put that game basically on ice. Like the 3 games that were absolute destruction blowouts. They just put them in the bottom screen like, yeah, this is what's going on, and they show the touchdown. Next thing I know, I mean, look, as a Giants fan, it was still a good day with the Eagles losing and the Giants winning. But really wanted Washington to go down, and watching Tampa Bay, who. They have a veteran coaching staff. I just don't, I guess Cousins caught fire, but whatever, man. Tampa Bay to blow that's really bad.
Biggest comeback win in Redskins history, man.
That's okay. Washington now gets to go on the road. They have their bye, and then they get to go on the road to the Patriots.
You know, they're 3-1 at home.
Look, Washington is not a terrible team. Not a terrible team by any stretch. That defense can play very well, and as you saw yesterday, if your quarterback, has a good game, they can put up some points. Let's not look too far ahead of ourselves. That was the Buccaneers.
Yep.
I mean, you're talking about Washington, where their 2 wins this year was that weird game at home against the Rams and that weird home win against the Eagles. This is a team that's lost to the Dolphins.
Yep.
At home. They lost to the Giants. I mean, the Giants smoked them.
Yep.
They beat, lost to the Falcons, lost to the Jets by 2 touchdowns. So, look, I don't think Washington's that good. I still think they'll probably be a 10-loss team. Because, when you look at their schedule, it's not getting
not favorable. Not favorable at all, man. So, hey, it is what it is. And congratulations to you for calling the Atlanta Falcons to win the game in stomachache fashion. 10-7 over the Tennessee Titans, who are now 1-5 and 0-4 at home. Matt Ryan, not a great day, man. 251 yards, 1 touchdown. Devontae Freeman did his thing as usual. 25 carries, 116 yards. For all you fantasy guys out there, Devontae Freeman has obviously been a beast. You have him, right, Dan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. But at some point, they're going to start zeroing in on him. You know what I mean? Some of these teams.
They're trying. They're trying. The thing is Freeman, you can't double team him when he comes out of the backfield as a pass catcher because you still have Julio Jones.
Yeah, good point. And
you've got to put 2 guys, if not, basically 3, one at each level. You bump him on the line. Then you got to get Julio, covered over the middle. Then you got a safety over the top because he'll burn you.
Yeah, good point.
And Devontae, he's so good at hitting the hole when he takes the ball from the backfield. But the other thing that makes him very, very special is the wheel routes and the little out, bubble screens and the little out routes and the slants.
Yeah.
He's such a good pass catcher that if, they play action and then he runs out 3 yards and catches the ball, he's also very good in space. Kid really is something special. Let's see if he can make it more than a one-year wonder. But the way he runs the ball, I mean, is very special that he can do so many different things.
Game that I never saw coming, man. The New Orleans Saints beat up on the Colts. They were actually up huge in this game. They're up 20-0 at the half. Andrew Luck, 333 yards, 3 touchdowns, but could not get the job done, and the Saints win 27-21, Dan. Wow.
Saints did everything they could to try and give that game away.
They did, right?
Everything they could, and Andrew Luck just couldn't seal the deal. I mean, I don't know if he's still injured. I know he had decent numbers. He just doesn't look right. Maybe it's just because the rest of that team is so bad.
Yeah, good point.
The rest of that Colts team is garbage. I mean, they don't have a good, they don't really have a solid running game. Their defense is obviously deplorable. Look, the Saints are the Saints. They can still put up some points if, Breeze is on. I actually liked the Saints there, and I almost took them because...
You did, yeah. You told me that. You warned me to get off of the Colts, too.
I did. It's Breeze in a dome. It's against a bad defense. It just seemed like a bad matchup, and the Colts are just not the Colts. Hey, it is what it is. Like we said, the Colts are still 3-4 in first place in that division because, that division is by far the worst. I know everybody wants to say the NFC East is the worst in football, and it's pretty bad, because of the injuries. But I can't remember ever seeing healthy teams that are this bad.
Yeah, definitely not, man. You got the Jags, you got Tennessee, you got Houston, and you got the Colts in that division.
And again, maybe RIP to Arian Foster's career. His Achilles, blew up yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Laying there in the field. So he's already been announced out for the rest of the season.
Ouch.
This is the guy that's had, basically multiple groin rips. Now he's got an Achilles rip. He's getting on that age. This might be it for Arian Foster, and if it is, let's. He had a great career. It's too bad he can never, really get anywhere. But hey, man, Houston's done. It's terrible to see.
Yeah, definitely. They got smoked, which we'll talk about in a
little
little bit.
I thought that defense would at least be solid. That's what I thought coming into the season. I thought the offense would do just enough I thought the Colts wouldn't have a great year. I never liked Jacksonville, obviously, and I thought Tennessee would be okay. But I actually thought Houston, with, a healthy Clowney, with J.J. Watt, and the rest of the defense that hasn't been that bad. And this year, I mean, it's obviously, this is where a coaching change, I think, needs to be made immediately.
Sure.
Immediately. Because it's not like, their offense is only scoring like 3 or 4 points a game. But, you also see what happens when, they don't have the play, which is throw it to DeAndre Hopkins.
Right. Good point, man. Good point.
If you shut down DeAndre Hopkins, they ain't scoring a point against you.
Right. Totally understand that, man.
Gotta get the coach out of there.
We are on Twitter right now at SBTV Nation. You can follow us there and all the other social media outlets as well. And we got a lot of people retweeting our show today, and we very much appreciate it. We're also at SBTVNation.com. Go over there, guys. You can listen to the show all day long if you want. And you can actually register, man. We're actually sending out our email list once a week. What we're doing is letting you know all the guests that are coming up. So this way, you can just get it, open up your phone and whatever, and see our mailing list and go from there. So register at SBTVNation.com. The Vikings are 4-2, Dan. And they beat the 1-6 Lions, which, you know what? I did not like this game, but, I'm pretty surprised that the Lions got blown up like that. Teddy Bridgewater, 316 yards, 2 touchdowns.
I'm not surprised. And this is one of those where I was really, for lack of a better word, I was kicking my own ass when this game kicked off. Because I was sitting there and I'm like, man, I love the Vikings. But the line seemed really fishy to me at -1.
Yep.
I'm like, 1-6 team. I mean, against the Vikings, who played pretty well. And I know there were all the question marks about Adrian Peterson swallowing his backy,
Yeah, right.
I mean, come on, man. Bumpy flat like a high school kid. And, it really just scared me off it. But, I mean, Detroit's bad. Minnesota's mediocre. And
Detroit's real bad, man. 1-6. 1-6. I think your season's pretty much done. You got to go. You got to go. You got to go 9-0 even to have a shot at getting in the playoffs.
It's over. I mean, it's over. The Detroit Lions will lose at least 12 games now. I mean, they might run into a win here or there. But, when you're an NFL player and you look up and you see 1-6, look, I know that 2-5 isn't much better.
Yep.
But at 2-5, you still, I guess, have a shot at least, psychologically.
You got to be in a really, really bad division.
Right. So, and they're not.
Yeah, and they're not. I mean, they got Green Biscuit and Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Vikings at 4-2 that are probably like, crap, man. I don't know if we can even do this.
Right.
But it's a shame because really, I mean, Detroit. And if you look at who they lost to, it's not like they played. They haven't even played Green Bay yet.
Yep.
Right. I don't think they played Green Bay yet.
I don't believe they have.
No, they haven't. So they haven't played Green Bay. Their losses, I mean, their only win was Chicago, which was a squeaker. But, I mean, you're talking about a team that lost to the Chargers. They've already lost twice now to the Vikings, at home and on the road.
Yikes.
I mean, look, the Broncos obviously thought they would beat them. They had a chance to beat Seattle and couldn't do it. The Cardinals obviously smoked them. And their schedule doesn't get any. They still have to play. Yeah, they still have to play the Packers twice. They have to go on the road to the Rams, the Eagles. Even the Raiders are going to kill them.
Yeah, very good point, man. Big call for you for the Rams, kid. Nice job.
Thanks,
nice job on that one. The Rams 24-6 over the Browns. The Browns are 2-5, and the Rams are 3-3. Don't think the Rams have a shot at doing anything this year, but I think they'll be a little bit. I think they could be a 500 or better team.
I think they will be. I think they'll probably win 8 or 9 games. 8 or 9 games. Arizona, I think, is ridiculous. Seattle, I think, will round into form. I mean, I think they'll be a little better. I don't know, though. I mean, that division to me has Arizona's name written on it,
sure,
unless there's a major injury.
Yep.
What I love better, though, is St. Louis's defense carrying my fantasy team to a victory. Obviously, Denver had the bye, so we couldn't play them.
Oh, wow.
But, yeah, man, I started St. Louis's defense. They put up like 26 points.
Sick. I saw that, man.
Yeah, man, and that so that defense can carry that team, and they've been getting a little bit of offense. So if they get a little bit of offense, the rest of their schedule is, I mean, they still have the 49ers twice. They have them next week next week at home. They should win that game. Then it's at the Vikings, home against the Bears, and at the Ravens.
Got it.
They should win 3 out of those 4 games. They really should. And then you talk about, then you have to go at Cincinnati and home against Arizona. But then you have the Lions, the Bucks, and then the Seahawks and Niners to end the season. So, if they get hot, they're not playing world-beating teams right now.
Sure.
They got Cincinnati and Arizona, which I think are pegged losses. There's a chance that this team could wind up maybe, call me crazy, 10-5. 10-6.
10-6.
10-6, and that might be good enough for a wild card.
It may be. So, all right. And then, how about my Dolphins layeth the smacketh down on the Texans? That was one of my bright spots of the day, finally. Finally got a bright spot.
The Texans, like we just were saying, pitiful. And then you see them come, and they put up 26 points in, the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there and you're like, what are you doing?
Did Miami have the scrubs in at that point?
I don't know, but I know a lot of people had, they added 10 points to Houston because they love playing dogs like that. And that still didn't work.
Oh, I know. 14.5 points and still couldn't get the job done. Miami was up huge. 41-0 at the half, bro. I looked at my phone. I'm like, there's got to be a mistake here. There's got to be a mistake.
It was, they're actually showing the replay of it right now on one of the channels that I got muted on one of my TVs. And I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at the Miami running game. And look, the Miami O-line, let's give them credit. They're blocking like madmen. That blocking scheme was amazing, left to right, and then just hitting the holes. But nobody in Houston is touching these guys. They're arm tackling all the way down the field. You look at 26, and he just, he breaks through 3 guys that don't even put a body on him. Houston has given up on the season. This is where you get really, really, really in the fade Houston mode.
Yes.
What I think you're going to see, they'll probably bring Mallet back.
Okay.
For the rest of I think that's what I would do. Why not?
Got it.
Bring him back for the rest of the year. You'll see him throw the ball to DeAndre Hopkins 150 times, and they might not win another game.
Tannehill had 4 touchdowns, right out the gate, too.
Yeah, and I know everybody's lauding Tannehill. They're like, oh, my God, Ryan Tannehill is amazing. Guys, let's chill out. It was Houston.
Yeah, right. Now they got to play the Patriots this week. So,
right.
We'll see what ends up going down with that.
That's a Thursday game in New England. Let's see what happens there.
I don't think Brady's lost on a Thursday at all, ever. So we got to
keep that at home. This game, and I don't know if I'm going to be on again to talk about this, but I've already locked this game in. I think Vegas is going to get hurt on this game. Really?
Well, speaking of the New England Patriots, they are 6-0 and they beat the Jets, and the Jets are 4-2. The Jets gave them a little run for their money though for a little bit there.
Very, very good team. They would have had a shot. Look, Brandon Marshall, if he did not drop that gimme touchdown pass, they probably win that game.
Yep.
It's a huge swing.
Big swing.
The difference between 7 and 3 in the NFL when you play a team like New England or Green Bay.
Huge.
Oh, it's so huge. And, they still had a chance. Bowles is a very, very smart head coach. Kicking the field goal. And the Jets have a really good field goal kicker. So, obviously happy there because then that covered 7. So, I was sitting there and then, they get the onside kick. And then Brandon Marshall lines up offsides. And you're sitting there and they couldn't, so it would have given them a chance to throw a Hail Mary to the end zone to try and tie. But the Jets are a good team. They can put pressure. I fully expect the Jets to have a wild card in the AFC.
You think so, huh?
Oh, look. You want to lock something up, lock up the Jets going to the playoffs.
Really?
Yeah, lock it up. Look at the AFC.
Okay.
Look at the AFC standings right now, and you have the Jets at 4-2.
I think if it ended today, I think they would be in.
They'd be in. And look, I know everybody's saying the Dolphins. Look, the Jets will beat the Dolphins. I'm not really worried about that. The Bills look like garbage again. The Steelers might take a wild card with Roethlisberger coming back. The Browns and Ravens are dead. Broncos are winning their division. The Raiders, I think they're going to be good in a year or two. They're 3-3 right now. I don't think they're doing anything. And then nobody in the AFC South is winning a wild card.
Right.
So you have the Jets at 4-2, and really they're competing against probably Pittsburgh.
Yep.
for one wild card, and I guess if you want to say that Miami at 3-3 looks good, I mean, those are really realistically Miami and Oakland and the Jets are like the teams that are competing, and I guess Buffalo. And I know we're 7 games in, but that's how it's shaping out.
Unreal, man. And
well, I love the Jets. To make the playoffs is a little bit of a prop in Vegas. And you look at their schedule, the Jets are at the Raiders. Okay, I think they'll win that game.
Yep.
Home against the Jaguars and Bills. At Houston. Home against Miami. Then they have the game against the Giants. But then it's the Titans at the Cowboys, and who knows what the Cowboys will be there.
Yep.
Home against the Patriots and at the Bills.
Very interesting.
Realistically, the Jets could be an 11-win team.
Very interesting, Dan. I like that. It sounds good. I'm not a Jets fan at all, but I kind of like where you're going with it. And I think that they would go into a team like Indianapolis or something like that. And I think that's a winnable game for them as well.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, if they go into Indy, with Indy winning the division, the Jets winning the wild card, you take that all day long. And we know, I mean, wild card teams, you love it. Look, call me crazy, and I'm waiting to hear all the hate now. I love an AFC Championship matchup of New England, New York.
Oh, wow.
And I think I want to call that. Call it right now. You know what?
What about the Bengals, man? You can't, or the Broncos.
No, but if you think about it, so the Jets will, as a wild card, right? They're probably going to play Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And the other thing is I actually like the Jets against Denver. Because look, Denver, you're talking about 2 amazing defenses, and if you look at who has the better running game, okay. And I'm sorry, who has the better offense overall right now?
I get it. Okay.
I know people are going to call me crazy, and maybe Peyton Manning rounds in the form, but if you tell me that the Jets have to go in January in freezing cold weather into Denver, good luck, Peyton Manning.
Good point. Dan.
I think, and I got to see, what Vegas would offer me on a Jets Patriots right now AFC Championship.
If you look at it right here, you're looking at the New York Jets to win the AFC at about 23-1.
So you take, and then
just the AFC, and then obviously the Super Bowl is about 47-1. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, and look, I obviously there's a lot of season left, and this is not counting in any injuries that could happen or anything, but I really do. I mean, expect the Jets. They have such a soft schedule. They have a chance here after this Patriots loss to win the next 5 or 6 in a row.
Got it. And if they win, let's say 5 in a row, that would put them at 9-2.
Right. Oh no, yeah, it would. 9-2.
Wow.
9-2, and then it's Giants, Titans, Cowboys, Patriots, Bills.
I'm sold. I like them to go to the playoffs as well. I'm sold. You sold me, baby. You sold me. All right, and speaking of the San Diego Chargers and Raiders, guys, you know what? My apologies about that lean. Dude, I'll never, ever mess with Phillip Rivers again. No way. I am so done with that dude and that team, man. You know what? and this guy got all this money over there, and when he got the check for all that money, I was like, you know what? I just don't see it. I don't understand it. And sure enough, I mean, he did have 336 yards and 3 touchdowns. So I get that, but at the end of the day, you got to win these ball games, man. You're 2-5.
No, I know. It's so crazy. Realistically, I think the San Diego problems go all the way back to when they fired Norv.
Yep.
That team is just, it's almost like Phillip Rivers is like an adrenaline junkie, like I was saying, He's got to get down all these points, and, he leads them on these magical comebacks, but it's never easy. And then this team is always like 2-6, and then wins they win the last 7 games, and then they lose the last game of the year to not make the playoffs. So it's like classic San Diego.
Unreal, man. And your New York Giants are 4-3, Dan, in first place in the NFC East, and win by 7 points, beating the Cowboys, who are 2-4. I do got to say something, though. I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about the Cowboys. I mean, is Dez coming back anytime soon?
He was running up and down the sideline nice yesterday, screaming at his teammates. I think he'll probably come back next week.
Okay, so you're going to get him and Romo back soon.
Romo, I'm not.
I want to say somewhere around Thanksgiving. That's what it would.
He might make his appearance for. Look, Tony Romo, and I'll say this as a Giants fan, and I'm not a hater. Look, Tony Romo is one of the toughest SOBs out there.
Yep.
If he can throw the football, he'll be out there. But I think I think week 9 is the earliest he can return because it's like half season IR or something. I'm not sure how the new IR works, to be honest. But I think you have to be out at least 8 weeks. It's like the DL in baseball.
Got it.
You can't just bring him back. So week 9 would be the most plausible.
Okay.
Cowboys need him bad. I mean, look, you can look at all the stats you want and everything like that, but whether it's Castle and people are getting on him, whether it was Whedon, it doesn't really matter. It's not Romo, and I know that Castle threw 3 picks, but this is bad for Dallas. If they get Romo back in the next couple weeks, they have a very favorable schedule to still win a lot of games.
Sure, definitely. I think they could make a run if they get they get healthy towards the end there. So
yeah, if they get healthy, and you just worry about when your star wide receiver and your quarterback both get banged around and they're coming back, timing, and things like that, and because it's a foot. How much is Dez Bryant going to practice? And I know a lot of people say, what's practice? But when you're not taking throws from the quarterback for a long time, it could affect you. Yep. But let's see what happens.
Hey, you know what? I can't believe you got me sold on the Jets making the playoffs. I can't believe you talked me into that, man. I can't believe you talked me into that. And speaking of a team that's probably going to make the playoffs is the Carolina Panthers. Laid it the smacketh down on the Eagles last night, man. I went to sleep. It was 14-3. I had a long day yesterday, but that team looks pretty good. They look pretty good.
Like I was saying, Cam is very underrated, I think, by a large part of the country. If you're down in the South, I think you appreciate and know how good he is. But, I hear a lot of people up north and out in the Midwest and all that, like, he's all right. Dude he just wins. He just wins. Whatever they need him to do.
He's big. He can throw the ball. I mean, a lot of his passes are like razor sharp, man.
And he reminds me. I mean, him and Roethlisberger are cut from the same cloth. They can get popped in the pocket. They can move around. They can take a hit. They know exactly what they need to do to get the first down, to move the chains. And Carolina's defense, I'm telling you, they're primed, man.
Yeah.
They are primed and ready to go. Look, I think that teams like that, in a playoff situation, in the NFC, I like them, but I still think if they have to go into Green Bay or somewhere like that, they're going to get picked off.
Okay.
Just too much offense for them. But Carolina is a very good team that, at this point, if you are in Vegas, I would say you want to place a future. Super Bowl future on Carolina is not a bad idea.
15-1 right now to win the whole thing, brother.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, Carolina, when you have a dominant defense, it's like pitching in baseball. You can shut any team down any week.
Yeah, good point. I mean, and you got, with Green Bay, if you think about it, both of these teams are undefeated right now, but who knows? Carolina maybe gets home field advantage because I know Green Bay's got a pretty tough game coming up. Don't they got to go to Denver or something?
Yep. But I mean, you don't expect either team to go undefeated.
No, of course not.
The Panthers have a nice one. A great Monday night game next week, guys. I mean, Panthers home against the Colts. Great. So you're going to see Andrew Luck get murdered, but then they have to play the Packers, and so they play each other in 2 weeks.
All right, sounds good. And with the with Jordy Nelson out of the lineup for Green Bay, I mean, Eddie Lacy has been not so great at all.
No, I know, and you're right. I mean, the next 2 weeks,
Starks has emerged, but other than that, I mean, it's.
I think after the bye week, I think Eddie Lacy was still a little banged up from the early season injury that he took. I think having the bye week and the rest will do him good, and you'll see it differently. But look, they play basically the best two defenses, arguably, in football in the Broncos and the Panthers, both on the road the next 2 weeks.
Wow.
That's going to be a hell of a game. The Sunday night game next week is Green Bay at Denver.
Nice.
I mean, you got a great offense against a great defense.
Absolutely.
I'm starting to like Green Bay in this game early.
All right. Got a lot of people out on Twitter at SBTV Nation. Guys, thank you very much. All your comments. My man Razor Ramon is saying future on Carolina. Jason Riley is saying that Cam is very underrated. Got all kinds of stuff going on Twitter this morning.
And I know I got Frank Vinquato saying that the Jets are going to get swallowed up by the black hole. Guys, let's not get ahead of ourselves. That Jets defense is going to show you some things.
All right. Sounds good.
And by the way, the opening line for the Packers-Broncos game is crazy. The Packers -3
in Denver.
Wow. In Denver.
Wow.
I know Peyton Manning's look like garbage.
Home team underdog on prime time.
Woo!
All right,
you're going to do that to Peyton Manning, he might just decide to, go in the time machine for a day.
Peyton Ball may not have it, man. So we'll have to have that conversation when we get further involved with that. So, all right. So, guys, we have a little treat for you, man, because the evil genius will not be on tomorrow, and the dream is coming back tomorrow. And he's going to talk about, we got a few minutes left here in the show. We're going to have a conversation about the World Series. Now that all the rotations have been put out there, we're starting off with Harvey, DeGrom, Syndergaard, and then Montz.
Yep.
That's your 1 through 4 punch. Brace us with your knowledge, Dan. What's going to go down with the New York Metropolitans? How can we make money on this?
Well, there is a great opportunity here. And, guys, do this before Vegas gets wise to it. If you believe that the Mets are going to win the World Series, all right, if you truly believe that and you want to take the, take the series line, okay, great. There is a great arbitrage opportunity with the Mets on exact number of games to be won.
Okay.
I'm telling you that. Go get your arbitrage calculator. But if you think the Mets are going to win, if you can play it that they'll sweep, win in 5, win in 6, or win in 7, and it's a 67% profit arbitrage.
67%. Nice, man.
67% profit. I used the arbitrage calculator yesterday to make sure the numbers are right. Look, so the only way you lose, obviously, is if Kansas City wins the World Series, which, not even being a homer here, I just can't see it.
No.
The Mets have an absolutely dominant pitching rotation. Kansas City scares you a little bit because, they're known for grinding out at bats and working, base hits. But the thing is the only time the Mets pitchers really get bit is on the home run ball.
Okay.
And then when they're in the National League Park, remember, the Royals are going to lose Morales as the DH.
Right.
So that's going to significantly impact them. They'll obviously be available to pinch hit, but they're going to lose the DH. I think the Mets, honestly, in my heart and heart, sweep or win in 5.
You really think so, huh?
I really do. I could see maybe them losing Game 4.
With Mott's, huh?
I could see it just because I love Steven Matz. I love Steven Matz, and don't get me wrong. When you got Harvey, DeGrom, and Syndergaard, then it's Matz. He's obviously the weak link, if you want to call it that. And if they manage to, like I said, if the Royals are up, 2-1, 3-2, and you get into that 7th inning, you're in trouble. Yeah, you're in a lot of trouble. Both of these closers haven't given up a run in like a millennia. Between Familia and Davis, probably the two arguably best closers this season in baseball.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially after the Royals, after the original Royals closer got hurt, but this dude is nasty. And then, you got Herrera throwing 100 miles per hour. But remember, guys, the Mets came out, they beat Kershaw, they beat Greinke, they beat Arrieta, they beat Lester. And now it's Ventura and Volquez and Cueto.
Good point.
Look, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but I was very, very nervous going into the Dodgers series. But in any long 7-game series, you remember what I said at the beginning of the year, kid. If the Mets get into the playoffs, they'll win the World Series.
Yeah, you said that rotation could beat
anybody. And I said that before the season started. Go back and listen to it on the tape. It's all on tape, guys. And I said that because of this pitching rotation. And, obviously they haven't been affected by the bright lights. These guys pitch in New York. The media's in their face every day. What's a couple extra cameras?
Yeah, right.
I just think they have the better lineup than Kansas City. They have more pop. And playing in a National League park, and it means a lot. Their pitchers hit a lot better.
Got Volquez, Cueto, Ventura, and Chris Young.
So I honestly believe that the Royals go down 0-2 coming back to New York.
Wow.
Look, I'm saying, you're telling me who's going to lose? Is Harvey going to lose to Volquez, or is DeGrom going to lose to Cueto?
Yeah, right.
I don't know if the first game line is out yet. I don't see it here.
Looking at it here, Tuesday's game, you got the New York Metropolitans are favored minus 115. Don't have a total yet, Dan.
Yeah, so, I love that.
The odds makers seem to think that the Mets are the better team in Game 1 as well. And DeGrom is going to be favored in Game 2 as well. Of course.
And Harvey, after that one bad start, and I love him off the little bit of extended rest. The Mets, I know it hasn't boded well in the past for teams that sweep.
Yep.
But remember, they closed out the series only one day apart from each other or whatever. So it's not like, they've only had one extra day of rest, and that's good for these young pitchers. It was good for Cespedes to get his shoulder healthy. He's fully primed and ready to go. Look, I'm sitting here. I'm loving it. I can't wait. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, I know.
The only other thing that I want to talk about, guys, is the other thing that you have to look for in these series, and I've been playing a lot of these, and I normally don't give these out in the regular season. First fives on the Mets.
First fives on the Mets.
First five. And I even like first 5 3-way lines. Because the Mets, look at how they've been scoring in the first inning.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you take the first 5 3-way line, and it's normally really good odds. The last 2 games I've taken that, I think I went 1 in a push.
Yeah, and it's always plus money,
because
right?
I took the 3-way line. Or no, sorry, I lost 1 3-way line, 1-1. But I also take the first 5 with where you can push on it too. But you're talking about first 5s end up like plus 220 sometimes. But the other thing that I really like is if you're looking at World Series MVPs. Right now, Murphy's plus 400. But the sneaky one I like is Curtis Granderson.
Granderson, huh?
Plus 1,500.
Okay.
Curtis Granderson has, look, Murphy's obviously been the catalyst. The Murph man cometh, Mr. October, whatever you want to call him, but Curtis Granderson gets on base. He does everything you need him to do. He's been hitting in the clutch. And if you want to throw a pitcher in there, maybe you throw Harvey or DeGrom in there. DeGrom right now is plus 1,500.
Wow.
Because, but the thing is, it'll be hard for a pitcher if the Mets sweep. David Wright's plus 2,000. I know he hasn't had a great playoffs, but the thing is he picked it up like crazy. That last game, remember the last 2 games, he went like 6 for 8, I believe.
Okay.
And the other one, Lucas Duda, plus 2,800. And I know everybody's going to tell me I'm smoking crack here. I know they are, but Lucas Duda hits in bunches. When he starts hitting home runs, he doesn't stop for a little while. If you look at his home run streaks, he hit he almost hit 30. Did he hit 30 this year? But he had like a week where he hit 6. He had a 10-day stretch where he hit 9 in 10 days. And he's just started to hit home runs. And you're talking about a Kansas City starting rotation that gives up home runs.
Got it.
So, plus 2,800, it's a nice way to look at it there. Maybe you look at the closers. Familia, if he closes every game, maybe. But, man, I love the Mets here in a bunch of different various assortments of ways.
All right, sounds good, Dan. Well, we do have a small game tonight as well. We have Monday night.
Little one.
We have Monday Night Football tonight, guys, and we got to have a quick conversation about the Baltimore Ravens coming into the Arizona Cardinals. And the Arizona Cardinals are minus 9.5 with an under-over of 49 points, Dan. Carson Palmer on the year, 1,737 yards, 14 touchdowns, coming off the loss. I think the Arizona Cardinals win this game. I just don't know. 9.5 to the Baltimore Ravens. I know the Ravens are 1-5 and they stink in the whole package, but you still got, Flacco at the helm there. I mean,
I think the Ravens might get shut out, though.
You think so, huh?
They can't. You're trying. You have a deep ball quarterback with receivers that have lost their legs.
Okay.
And you're telling me, look, I love Steve Smith Sr., but he's been banged up, and you are going to have he's going to get knocked around at the line. He's going to have, Tyrann Mathieu coming up and, blasting him. He's going to have, the best cornerback on him. And then where else do you go from there?
Yeah.
Where do you go? I mean, I'm leaning very, very heavily towards Arizona. I'm not 100% sure yet.
Okay.
Because, it is 9.5. It's a lot. It's still a primetime game. These guys have pride. But it is at Arizona. Look, it's like playing Madden 08 here with Chris Johnson and Carson Palmer. But they look real good. And I think Arizona gets the job pretty easily done today. What I think I like better, though, guys, is a 7-point teaser.
Okay.
With this game and the Thursday night game.
Ooh.
So you take Arizona down to -2.
Yep.
And then you take the New England Patriots down to -1.
All right.
And that is what I think, that is my lean. That is where I would go.
That's a great play, Dan.
Thank you.
That's a great
Because we know, and I know you and Dream will get into it, but I mean, guys, just look up the Patriots stats on Thursday night, especially at home.
Got it. All right. Sounds good, man. Cool. Well, Dan, I really enjoyed kicking it with you this morning.
That was a great
Definitely a great time, man, and I'm looking forward to rocking and rolling tomorrow, guys. And I just want to thank everybody out there in all 194 countries that support us each and every day, and we are rocking and rolling. I think Dan's got some really good information there and some really good plays, and thank you for the World Series breakdown, man. Stellar.
Oh, no doubt,
Absolutely stellar. That's why you are the
just
evil
so
genius.
you guys know, when you tweet me during games, I don't hate you guys. I just don't respond. I do not. My phone does not.
Do not tweet the evil genius during the game.
Don't tweet me during Mets World Series games, guys. Any other game, I don't care, but I ain't responding to you.
Yeah, right. I almost don't want to text you until the game is over, just because you know what I mean. Like when they're up 6-0 or something like that, I'm usually I want to go ham with the text on you, but I'm like, let me not say anything,
I hear you, and I just get, I did it one time, and it's like, you see guys, it's like 2-1, like, oh, this game's over, it's a wrap, and I'm like, oh my god, what are you talking about? I just throw my phone across the room. But so guys, it's not that I want to respond, but honestly too, by the end of a game, I might have 100 people that have hit me up. So I just can't get back to you.
The evil genius is pacing back and forth in his living room.
I have burned some holes in my man cave floor. Let's put it that way. I'm sure I'll do it again. Let's go Mets. Love the whole nation, guys. Let's get that money
all day long. So big shout out to everyone that has retweeted our show this morning. Guys, we very much appreciate you on the mic with us today. And let me just take a look at who has retweeted our show so far. We got 40 of them. I got my man Clown, man Swag. I got the 7-footer, Woodbine fan. What's going on, brother? I got Randomly Unpredictable, Joseph, Del Rosario, Holiday, my man Papa Smurf. What's going on? KMVU, Sir Mata, Caveman, G Rose, JDH24, my man Marlon. I got Justin Hernandez, Lewis Carter, C. Rodriguez Jr., Long Wu, Frank Vincalato. It's all about the you. Not yesterday, brother. Or not Saturday, rather. P for Prez, ENT, Yippa82, JC, hashtag SBTV Nation, Jason Riley, Ben Rowe. What's up, brother? Christos, Rick Lopez. Got my girl Ray's Core in the other room. What's going on, honey? I got Direct Sports Solutions. We ripped it on Houston Radio the other day on Friday, man. Thank you very much for that. Snoopy Betts, Ciroc King J, OJFB, The Evil Genius. Thank you for retweeting our show. Sin City Maverick, Jade, Jeff Ryan, Spot Bet, LA Wiz Kid, Moneyline Hunter, Vegas Girl 92661, and Mario Martinez. Guys, We love you to death. Thank you very much. Once again, we have a huge lineup tomorrow, opening night of the NBA, also the start of the World Series. Jared Zwirling tomorrow. On Wednesday, we got the beautiful Megan Alexander's going to be ripping it up with us, along with Gary Washburn from the Boston Globe. And on Thursday, we are bringing in Vanilla Ice. Can't wait for the show. We love you to death. Go out there, go easy, do your own homework, take your own plays, make all your dreams a reality, and get that money. Let's go.
Let's go, Mets. Peace.